Erica Lorraine Spencer here. This is the P.O.C. The current date is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. And I want to provide a podcast because I'm covering more than one aspect of documenting the state's pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring. Remember, the public entity that is monitoring via communication devices is not only monitoring via communication devices in concert with the people of the state. That is the fundamentals of a government that's monitoring you. It is doing so through the very people that are a part of the state. Whatever your zip code is, the government is systematically monitoring American citizens and doing so by the very people of that state. That's what federal group stalking and monitoring is, okay? And in addition to that pattern of conduct of monitoring with communication devices, criminal obstruction of justice is the pattern of conduct. So you are a group stalker pursuant to federal law and how you are treated and prosecuted under federal law, how the law sees that criminal conduct. You are a group stalker, even when you are not in relevant position, creating audible activity or light activity in concert with the state that is stalking and maintaining presence of relevant position. You are a group stalker when you are engaging in that pattern of conduct of criminal obstruction of justice, which serves the criminal purpose of keeping concealed, serving to oppress that target individual that in any way seeks to confront that public entity, assert their constitutional rights by prosecution, by documentation, by reporting the fact that they're being monitored by the state. And so criminal obstruction of justice serves that purpose of concealing. So not only is monitoring the fundamental criminal system, it's an operation by the government is also engaged in that pattern of conduct by actively trying to conceal the fact that it is engaged in it. So you are a group stalker on the internet, okay? Understand you're not in relevant position when you're on the venue of the internet engaging in the pattern of conduct of a public entity that works in relevant position to monitor and obstruct your ability to publish, to document, to otherwise expose or report the fact that you are being monitored and seeking to document. Third parties on that venue of the internet, such as YouTube, and that's the significance of this documentation, are engaging in, and YouTube is not alone. YouTube is the most present example, and so YouTube shall be used as that which shall also inform policy, federal policy for the prosecution of what is a third-party group stalker. YouTube, this is Google, is a group stalker, and they are engaged in the state's pattern of conduct. They are engaged in threatening the lives and the physical safeties of an American citizen. They are engaged in helping that government that is actively engaged in constant, ongoing, ceaseless criminal monitoring. That is a threat to the life of that individual who is publishing this information about a government. Again, going to the court is not an option. Publishing it on the internet is the sole means of recourse where the government is monitoring you. Engaging in any conduct that facilitates it, and not only is YouTube engaging in that, understand that it is intentionally doing so. And you are seeing it through the very conduct. They are engaging in using what they have at their disposal, which is placing arbitrary restrictions on my documentation, which again, I can go through all of this. Not only is the documentation that is published on the internet serving to prosecute a government that is monitoring you. This is outside the ordinary use of social media. This is that which is expressly stated on the YouTube channel. This is that which is not only within the actual black and white print of the guidelines of YouTube and any other platform on the internet. It is also that which is not going to be subject to those sort of guidelines, which are literally tangential to the purpose of publishing criminal conduct by a government that is otherwise engaging in actively seeking to conceal the fact that it is threatening your life on a daily basis, monitoring you, doing so with every single person that is also monitoring you, actively engaged in seeking, maintaining a diligent effort to try and keep you from using your phone to publish evidence of this ongoing criminal act. You are engaging in facilitating conduct that is helping the government. You are in no way not engaged in that pattern of conduct. That's exactly what the pattern of conduct is. You are doing it outside of relevant position. You are doing it on the venue of the internet. You do not have to be outside of my door to engage in any sort of conduct that is aiding the state's ability to obstruct justice. And this is the significance of the federal policy, S.I.I.S, systematic infliction of inhumane suffering, abiding by that pattern of conduct, which is in any way facilitating the government's ability to not only monitor but to conceal the fact that they are monitoring you, which is the pattern of conduct. And this is speaking to the conduct. This is how the entity monitors. This is how the entity engages in criminal obstruction of justice. You're talking about a government that's operating a criminal system. The government maintains presence vicariously. The government maintains activity vicariously. The government maintains light activity vicariously in concert. The government engages in criminal acts of obstruction of justice vicariously through the people of the state. The people of the state is not singularly defined by an individual. Okay, first of all, you're talking about group conduct. Second of all, you were talking about how the government is speaking through the people. The government is acting through the people. The government is acting through the institutions, through the companies, using their brands and their logos, hiding behind those outward forms of what is the operation of that criminal system. And it is no small thing whatsoever. There is no form under which any legally irrelevant, there is no claim under some internet platform where you can state that it's your company, so you have a right to place restrict. No, you do not. Okay, you do not in any way. And it's the same thing in relevant position with regard to monitoring an American citizen. In the same way, you do not have a right to just stand around and make a whole bunch of noise under the state's fake sun, under the state's directed light, in concert with the state that is stalking in all manner, directly and vicariously. Not only is that criminal facilitation, it's intentional conduct. It's the behavioral pattern that is revealing the absence of coincidence. Where the government is maintaining this environment, it is the absence of coincidence. This is intentional conduct. It's also demonic conduct. But I have been thorough enough to show what is the P.O.C, engaging in the criminal elements, light activity, relevant positioning, and activity, which is audible, sensational, and or visible, but you're also looking at the behavioral pattern. They're engaging in this identical behavioral pattern everywhere that you go. It does not matter what the person looks like. It does not matter even whether you know their name or whether you do not know their name. This is how the government is acting on a systematic basis, and you are literally honing in on the conduct. And that conduct being identical is the absence of any sort of coincidence, and the documentation establishes this. And again, for purposes of federal prosecution, there is no shelter whatsoever for in any way threatening the lives of American citizens who rely on the internet as a means of publishing that which is inherently threatening conduct by a government that is acting in concert with every single person around you to not only monitor you, but to conceal the fact that they are monitoring you. And there is no company, including YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Tumblr, Google, Reddit. There is no company whatsoever that shall in any way act on behalf of a government under that company name and avoid federal prosecution and avoid being identified as that. YouTube is a group stalker. YouTube is a third party. YouTube is engaged in intentional conduct. They are intentionally targeting. They are engaging in that unfortunate, but it's not unfortunate because it needs to be exposed, the true identity. You know them by their deeds. What YouTube is doing is revealing the true identity, its true motives, its true position, as it contrary to what it communicates on its platform, its desires, its goals. That's all a lie. I am providing ongoing proof and on a day-to-day basis experiencing and documenting for what shall be general policy against every third party engaging in that same pattern of conduct on behalf of a government, which is helping the government that continues to threaten my life, and YouTube is directly engaged in that, okay? It is the absence of coincidence that as I publish documentation that has been on the third-party platform YouTube for a prolonged period, YouTube goes back behind as I'm publishing them on my website now, going back and picking those same videos in order to engage in not only that's targeting conduct because it's not even in violation of their policies. But understand the goal of that. Let me just go on a sidebar. Even if it was, you are outside of those parameters. There shall be no third party that will in any way be able to place any sort of restriction where the government is monitoring you and you're doing nothing but documenting the criminal conduct of that entity. You're not going to be subject to that, and you shall be able to use those platforms. And they will also have an obligation to engage in that which is very contrary to what they are doing now, which is helping the government. They will have the obligations to act contrary to that. But that's a whole other. I will get to that, when that is time to go into that. For right now, I'm focused on the pattern of conduct. I'm focusing on that which shall inform federal policy. I'm focusing on how understanding what third parties are doing is helping the state, which acts vicariously through such conduct. And not only is it that which is facilitating that criminal system, it is also intentional conduct. The videos, the documentation, the evidence, and clearly stated as such, the whole purpose of my YouTube channel is clearly stated. So for under that reason alone, YouTube is in direct conflict with its own stated interests and goals behind placing restrictions. There is nothing that is requiring any age restriction on evidence. And understand, the government is monitoring by the people of the state who want to act like they're normal. So in their alternate universe, really all I'm doing is taking videos of cars driving by on the street, the sky with the sun, planes that are flying around, and helicopters. There is nothing that's requiring any sort of age restriction on that. Okay, and so this is also another way in which the state's own malice with which it engages in federal group stalking and monitoring is flipped on its head. There is nothing whatsoever that is calling for the restriction, any sort of arbitrary restriction. YouTube is blatantly engaged in targeting, blatantly engaged in creating an intentionally and maliciously stated threat to my person while it is aware of the fact that I'm documenting it, engaging in that same conduct. Understand, day by day pan-picking videos, but they're going to be identified as such. Understand, they will be shown and prosecuted, identified as the group stalker that it is. It does not matter that it is acting through the company name YouTube. They're engaging in the P.O.C. And let me also be clear, the principal place of business, as I understand it, YouTube is in California. So wherever their office is, let me point something else out. They are literally group stalkers. If I was in relevant position to wherever they are operating their business, guess what? All of those freaks will be monitoring. This is the state system. They're doing so. They're engaging in the P.O.C. on the internet. But I want to be clear, wherever their zip code is in California, if I was in relevant position, all of them that are engaging in the P.O.C. on the venue of the internet would be engaging in the P.O.C. in relevant position. So let's be clear on that. They are group stalkers. Okay, so I want to be clear. But like I was stating, YouTube is engaging in intentional conduct, aware of what I am documenting about it, and fully aware of the purpose of the channel, which is that I'm basing it on what YouTube states its community guidelines are, that which is serving to reveal what is criminal conduct by government. Number one, okay, so that's not going to be, and first of all, you're talking about an age restriction. None of this is going to be subject to any sort of age restriction, but it is also that which is serving the public good, exposing unprecedented criminal conduct by a government. This is serving a purpose, a legitimate purpose, a legal and vital purpose to the greater good, okay? But also, you're looking at the substance. You're talking about identifying what is malicious conduct by a government, and I'm literally taking pictures of what is supposedly the sun. It's not the sun. Documentation about that does not require any age restriction. YouTube is using whatever it has at its disposal to engage in harassment, okay? Knowing that it is trying to frustrate my purpose as I'm publishing documentation. It's not. It is informing federal policy. YouTube will be identified and prosecuted in that way. And this is why you do not in any way limit or change treatment under federal law because it is an individual versus a company, because they're in a private vehicle versus a commercial vehicle, because you're in a private residence versus a public establishment where they're facilitating the state's monitoring system, the monitoring conduct. And it's the same thing on what is the venue of the internet, on what is the venue of YouTube, where they are facilitating a government that is actively trying to obstruct my ability to publish while I'm here at Economy Inn, because that's where I currently am. Monitoring on the internet, interrupting operation of my communication device, my ability to use ordinary functions on my phone, which includes pop-ups and functions that are ordinarily available, suddenly not working. This is all monitoring conduct, okay? So the government is literally in real time acting with YouTube that's placing these arbitrary restrictions that do not apply, not only based on the substance of my videos, but also the purpose of my videos, all of which is requiring deliberate intent on the part of YouTube, utterly in disregard of their own published policies. This is how you are deducing what is intent on the part of YouTube. It is intentional also. You can deduce this based on the fact that they're engaged in a pattern of doing this over and over and over and over and over again, okay? Placing restrictions on what is nothing other than paperwork, placing restrictions on what is nothing other than video of what is well, we'll just call it a sun for purposes of YouTube. We want to act like whatever for a purpose of somebody who's supposedly ignorant about what I'm actually talking about. I'm just taking video of what is the sun in the sky, okay? There is absolutely nothing requiring any sort of age restriction based on that. And profanity, nudity, none of this is in any way occurring, but you're talking about that is not a grounds for barring my videos. Let's be clear, the materials that are published on this platform, okay? If I was using this platform for garbage like every other ordinary user, I would not be subject to this. This is targeting. So let me be clear, okay, about what's going on. Let's break that down. And in every way, you are deducing what is intentional conduct. And it is not only intentional, it is intentional for that purpose of facilitating a government's ability to monitor. That conduct directly threatens the life of an American citizen. And you're intentionally doing that, and knowingly so, aware of the documentation. You are fully engaged in that pattern of conduct. YouTube represents the people of the state of California, not only because the principal place of business is in California, but because the people of the state of California are not, under federal law, how it shall be prosecuted, are not defined as merely an individual. The people of the state of California engage in the state's P.O.C. at any public place, any private residence, any private community, out in public when I'm walking down the street. When you're looking at the light activity, which is impossible light activity, and the state is stalking with its light source, they are systematically monitoring. There is no location, venue, zip code where P.O.C. is not underway, and that includes on the internet, and you are identifying that pattern of conduct by these third-party platforms such as YouTube. And so I am speaking to what is the ongoing targeting conduct by YouTube, serving to inform federal policy for how you are actually able and fully empowered. I'm speaking about the targeted individual to prosecute not only group stalkers in relevant position, group stalkers on the venue of the internet, and this is absolutely necessary where a government is monitoring. Understand that government is an entity. It's not an individual. The government is an entity, and it works vicariously through the people of the state. The people of the state being defined as any company, any individual, all right, any organization, any institution that is in any way facilitating that criminal monitoring conduct, okay? And that is federal group stalking and monitoring. YouTube is a third party. YouTube is a group stalker, and that is based on the conduct, all right? That's P.O.C. And so pursuant to what I published in August of 2020, August 18, 2020, at third-party facilitating venue Economy Inn, as I have provided the ongoing trail of P.O.C. as I left Mayfair Inn on August 13, 2020, and on my playlist on my website, thepatternofconduct.wordpress.com, I am providing the ongoing trail as you're following. The state is engaged in ceaseless P.O.C., and my playlists are going August 13th I'm subject to P.O.C. while I'm there, and this is the whole purpose. P.O.C. is ceaseless, and I've literally documented step by step everywhere that I am going. Federal group stalking and monitoring is underway, and from one place to another, and in between as I'm going from place to place. In other words, it is ceaseless at all times, 24 hours a day. The state's monitoring via the people of the state. And as I go from Mayfair Inn and I leave that venue and August 14th, August 15th, August, 16th, all the way up to August 18th, where I arrive at Economy Inn, located at 2301 South Euclid Avenue on August 18th. And I add this playlist to this post that I have up on my website. Again, this playlist has existed on YouTube since last year. I continue to add to it, and I'm still adding to it to date because the state is engaged in ongoing conduct of monitoring. These demented psychopaths, sex offending group stalkers are here. I'm speaking of the people of the state of California that are monitoring with the state. The state's pattern of conduct is already established. All they're doing is monitoring. All I have to do is state where I'm at, and P.O.C. is underway. The state's pattern of conduct is already established. I'm speaking to what is demented, demonic conduct by the people of the state as they're doing nothing other than expressing what is hostility as these freak weirdos bang on the walls and the doors, and the state just amplifies it. And that's what they're doing all day long. You're looking at them outside of the rooms and in relevant position. That's what you're looking at. Under the fake sun. That's what you're looking at. And everything that they are doing is creating highly unnatural levels of noise inside of the room, as the state is literally applying a microphone to all of it, creating impact, sensational activity, and amplifying it in volume, creating ongoing audible activity, acting both directly and vicariously as they are beating on the walls and whatnot. In real time, monitoring what I'm doing on my cell phone all day, all night on a ceaseless basis, including right now as these psychopaths are listening listening to me publish documentation and speak about what is coming for them, which is with regard to the very thorough federal legislation that their criminal conduct continues to inform. All right. And so that is what I have published as to August 18, 2020, as I published this, which has long existed on YouTube. Okay. And YouTube engaging in that, which is the absence of coincidence. And I'm just speaking to the fact of as I published this particular post regarding what started with August 12th to August 13th as I'm leaving that facility, third-party facilitating venue of Mayfair Inn. And then I add all the playlists, August 13th, August 14th, August 15th, August 16th. And I am adding to the playlist, showing day by day as I continue to document what is ceaseless monitoring. I was being monitored at Mayfair Inn. I continue to be monitored as I go through to any other location all the way up to August 18th, where I remained up until September 25th, where I was kidnapped by Ontario police, being monitored the entire time. And I added this playlist August 18th, 2020, which had already been on YouTube for a prolonged period. The day after I published this, because I created the post the day before, all right? The next day I edited the videos, organized it, and then I added that playlist onto this pre-existing post. The post was already created. So from August 13th all the way to August 17th, I believe. And then the next day at like 12:58 in the morning, like 1 o'clock in the morning, which I've taken screenshots showing that I edited my post, and I added on my playlist of being present at Economy Inn as of August 18th, 2020. And later in the day, YouTube goes to this long existing playlist and places a restriction, an age restriction block on the first video of that playlist, which, as I have published it on my website, understand what the impact of that is. Not only they don't have any basis. It's literally a third-party group stalker sitting in their car on the first floor with their headlights on. They're creating light activity. They are arriving in relevant position, creating light activity as they drive into the parking lot in real time as I exit the room. They are always listening, so they're engaging in this behavioral pattern. I am narrating P.O.C. as it is occurring, and that is literally it. For purposes of what is the malicious system, literally the state can't do anything about the fact that I'm documenting what is supposed to be totally normal and innocuous, harmless conduct. Oh, okay, well then I can document it, and there's absolutely nothing improper about that whatsoever. And that's not only in its substance, that's that which is also on the surface as well. It works against the state that's engaged in this demonic conduct, this criminal monitoring system via the people, and it also works to the advantage of the targeted individual who is documenting and speaking to what are the engagement in the elements, not the outward guise under which. But this third party clearly is a stalker. He shows up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and drives into the parking lot as I'm walking out of my room to stand in front of my door of the venue, and he's just has his headlights. You're looking at the position, focused on the location, maintaining activity. The same thing I continue to show that these third-party group stalkers are doing all the time, because they're all monitoring. I'll say you're looking at where they are doing what they are doing, and I'm telling you the context is what you are looking at is married to the audible activity. The state's amplifying what you see them doing. It's much, much louder than it actually is, because the state's providing a microphone to it, and they're also doing what they're doing around me while the state is also stalking. Okay, the state is also present. That is the absence of normal conduct. You could be outside putting groceries in your car or putting groceries in your hotel room while the state is stalking by helicopter. You're monitoring. All right, that's P.O.C. It doesn't matter what you look like you're doing on the outside. But this third party that I captured at about 4:30 in the morning is sitting in the parking lot in his car, headlights on, facing me in direct alignment to me, and enters the parking lot at the moment that I exit the room. And so I am narrating P.O.C. YouTube, the day after I published this specific playlist, which has long existed on my YouTube channel at around 12:58 in the morning. YouTube on this same day, around 7 something yesterday evening now, goes in and places the age restriction on this video. Understand that YouTube is aware of the fact that I'm documenting them. This is not a coincidence. It's also not a coincidence that they choose to, out of all the videos, and understand I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos and playlists that I have created. YouTube chooses this precise playlist, picks this same video that happens to be the one that is going to be the thumbnail. If you're familiar, you embed a video, picks this same video, the first one. This is all intentional content. conduct. All right, that is not a coincidence. And also understand where the government is monitoring you. There are no coincidences. All right, it's the ability to hone in on what are the engagement in criminal elements and what is entirely intentional conduct as a psychopath is monitoring you, aware of everything that you're doing as you're doing it, actively engaging in trying to contradict everything you're saying based on the nature of the crime. They're monitoring. There are no coincidences whatsoever. And so this is YouTube fully engaging in P.O.C. And this is intentional conduct where, again, this video is not even in violation. YouTube doesn't even have a valid reason for which it's going to answer. It's going to answer for that, okay? And I'm letting you know, they don't even have a reason for a plausible claim for why they are picking this precise video, which just so happens to be the one that I added on the same day, hours earlier, after it had been on YouTube channel since last year, and places an age restriction on it, engaging in the P.O.C. criminal obstruction of justice, regardless of the fact they want to argue that they did it on purpose or they did not do it on purpose. It really doesn't matter. You're helping the government. That's what happens when the state is monitoring an American citizen. If you in any way engage in conduct that's facilitating that, you're going to be prosecuted, and it really doesn't matter where a third party is claiming, well, I didn't know. That is legally irrelevant because that's how the government is monitoring. And so this is the reality that we are living in. We have been living in. We just weren't aware of it. I am speaking to that which is ongoing. And so there shall be no claim whatsoever. Blame it on the government. The government is corrupt, and this is the reality that you shall suffer where a target individual is being monitored. You're certainly not going to be able to claim some sort of excuse where that target individual's life is being threatened and you're engaging in facilitating that threat and then going to claim ignorance. First of all, that's not the case, but I want to be clear, that's going to be legally irrelevant, but that's also not the case. I've shown the people of the state of California are fully engaged in malicious conduct. This is how the government monitors, through the people. The government engages in this conduct through the people, relies on the people, all right? That's the pattern of conduct. I am just speaking to what is also, in addition to what is the P.O.C. They don't even have a plausible claim. Okay, a car sitting in a parking lot and I'm talking, there is nothing that's requiring an age restriction whatsoever. Blocking videos about paperwork, not requiring any age restriction whatsoever. Nothing about the sky and the sun in the sky requiring any age restriction whatsoever. There is nothing in any of my content that has ever required it. And not only that, federal policy shall be such that where it's documentation which is evidence against the government, your little policies that apply to the ordinary users that are literally engaging in the nonsense of, pop culture, whatever they're doing, pop blocking and dancing, that doesn't apply. Okay, you're talking about criminal conduct by a government, and it very well could be documented on your platform, and you do not have a right to interfere in that at all. All right, you don't have a right to interfere, and you don't have a right to facilitate that criminal conduct, to wage that threat, and you're going to be prosecuted for that. All right, so that's going to be an adjustment, and this is what YouTube, I want to be clear, YouTube intentionally engaging in that would rather me focus on the fact that, and this is just awareness of the pattern of conduct, the malice with which this entity acts, and I'm just very familiar with it, would rather me focus on the fact that YouTube blocked another video rather than me continue to publish my documentation, which I have on my podcast dating back to my 2019, 2018. YouTube engages at around 7 o'clock in the evening on April 12th, the same day when I added this playlist to my channel, engages in blocking a video in the evening at 7 something in the evening. Understand that the entity that's monitoring me, that's monitoring and acting with YouTube, that's blocking my videos, that I just so happen to just place on my post on my website, would rather me focused on that than proceed with uploading more and more of my documentation. I'm doing both. I'm going to prosecute YouTube for this. YouTube's conduct, as well as that which I've documented about Instagram and TikTok and Tumblr and Facebook, they are all engaged in that. They are nothing but third parties on the venue of an internet. Their platforms are venues as well. Everything that is spoken, they are identified in the same manner. They're third parties, and where the government is monitoring, understand, they are speaking vicariously. They are acting vicariously on the venue of the internet. They are group stalkers under S.I.I.S. federal legislation, and engaging in any facilitating conduct where the state is always engaged in methods of obstructing the ability to publish, interfering with internet, interfering with operation of my communication device. That's ongoing P.O.C. So this video that was published on about August 18th, 2020, where I arrived at the venue of Economy Inn located at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, is what YouTube has engaged in. Again, the P.O.C. of criminal obstruction of justice. This is criminal harassment. This is targeting. And this is, again, everything that I'm pointing to. What is relevant? The fact that the entity, and YouTube is a part of the entity. Engaging in the P.O.C., you are a part of the entity. And this YouTube represents the people, all right? And this is nothing but a method of the people of the state of California engaging in that group stalking system, and via obstruction of justice. So let me be thorough with that, all right? That's how they are engaging in the pattern of conduct, and this is the significance of YouTube's conduct. And understand this is that which third parties engage in, period. YouTube is not, I'm not going to say YouTube is unique in that regard. I have been subject to this on the platforms altogether, engaging in that. I have published the playlist on YouTube as well, speaking to the different ways in which Google and the other third parties engage in facilitation of the state's pattern of conduct in any way that they can, in any way that they have at their disposal, trying to obstruct my ability to I guess you put in air quotes, reach the public or publish that evidence, make it known, in other words, that the government's monitoring and I am publishing what is evidence of it. That is literally interference with what is a legal process, and they understand they don't want no parts of that. And I said it in that manner on purpose. You don't want any parts of that. YouTube has directly engaged in that process, that which is a matter of federal prosecution, identifying themselves by their conduct as a group stalker. That's a legal status, understand, subject to prosecution based on that conduct which you are identified as, not based on your identity, okay? And this is another false premise that the state system, this system of federal group stalking and monitoring relies on, okay? So it is, again, like I said, it's currently April 13, 2021, and I want to speak to what is the ongoing criminal conduct by YouTube. And this is, I'm adding on to this podcast because I'm documenting more than one thing here. I am publishing this documentation that YouTube has, again, engaged in what is a pattern. And not only is it within the state's pattern of conduct on this particular venue, the internet, on this specific venue on the internet, YouTube, they're engaged in a tremendous pattern of targeting. Understand, YouTube doesn't have any grounds to block my videos, and they engage in this routine conduct. So this is the absence of coincidence. They are literally just engaging in P.O.C. Absent any outer guise under which they can claim, oh well, we blocked it because there is nothing. All right, the purpose of the channel and the substance of the videos, they don't have anything. This is absolutely intentional and malicious conduct. And I want to be clear, YouTube is engaged in the substance of that conduct is such that YouTube is literally threatening the life of an American citizen, and knowingly so. While aware of that documentation, they are aware of the purpose of the channel. They're aware of the fact of what I'm publishing in the content, and they're engaging in that pattern of conduct with that specific knowledge. It's not a coincidence when you're in that which I've documented, you're placing arbitrary restrictions on what is nothing other than a picture of papers. Okay, you don't have any right to. That doesn't in any way apply to your policy. Why are you blocking my videos for this, okay? And not only that, the government is actively engaged in a pattern of kidnapping me, and I'm publishing proof of it, and you're blocking my videos. And the internet is the sole basis, well, not the sole basis, but it is a primary basis of publishing that documentation. YouTube is fully engaged in the state's pattern of conduct, and they are going to face an intense prosecution and shall be identified as the group stalker that it is, acting on behalf of the government to monitor an American citizen, to continuously threaten the life. You are not engaging in any ordinary conduct when you're placing age restrictions on videos. It's very serious, and they're going to learn that. Just like the people of the state of California, just like the state of California, they're going to learn the very, very hard way. You don't get to do that anymore. But understand they are engaging in this while they are listening to every word, aware of everything that I'm publishing on the internet, aware of my efforts in trying to obstruct it. You're going to be prosecuted for that. And so this is to literally catalog it step by step, because when it comes to punishment, all of this is going to be revisited, all right? And YouTube fully engaged in P.O.C. YouTube is a third-party group stalker. YouTube is engaged in an ongoing threat to my life, aware of the fact of what I'm documenting, and intentionally seeking to engage in active efforts to try to stop me from doing so. Okay? And why would you do that? Why would you do that? Identifying yourself as what YouTube identifies itself at, what its purpose is, all right? Publishing what is your story on the internet. We don't want to invade. Why would you want to in any way get in the way of someone publishing their story? And what does this have to do with you? What's your interest in that whatsoever? You see, based on the explicit language of their policies, their guidelines, if you will, what they're doing is in direct conflict with what they continue to do, which is blocking videos that are in no way requiring any kind of age restriction whatsoever. All right. But I will go farther than that because like I said, where you're publishing documentation, none of that's going to apply whatsoever. This is going to be an ordinary method. The government that is monitoring American citizens, publishing that on the World Wide Web shall be the ordinary means, necessary means, and using these platforms, it's going to be included in. You're not going to be able to, not without punishment, not without exposure and prosecution, to what is none other than interrupt and invade and inject yourself into that process. No third-party group stalker on that platform, and no third-party operator of that platform. It doesn't matter what your identity is. And so you're talking about what is operated by the state that's engaging in unprecedented criminal conduct. And if you want to be affiliated with that, identified as that, well, then engage in what YouTube is engaging in, because that's what it is. You are now in the shoes of the government, acting on its behalf in a very criminal endeavor. All right. That is what YouTube is engaged in. It is not mere blocking a video for no reason, placing an age restriction. That which the state is engaged in, just like every third-party group stalker in relevant position, the group stalking conduct, the state's monitoring conduct is what prefaces what third parties are engaged in. It is the same principle with regard to the criminal acts of obstruction of justice on the venue of the internet. What the state is engaged in is what is prefacing your conduct and in any way facilitating that. So you better be careful. In other words, that's what that means, and that's what the general tone of federal law is going to, serve. That's the purpose that it's going to serve. And this is just the norm that is necessary because the government is monitoring American citizens, and this is undeniable. And so the people of any state, but here the people of the state of California and the people of the state that act on the venue of the internet, no longer free to just engage in any sort of conduct, and it's in any way disconnected. It is not disconnected to what that target individual is subject to on a continuous basis. That conduct is coexisting with what third parties are doing, and if you are helping that government, you're going to be prosecuted with that government. You are going to be directly associated as a vicarious actor of that government. This is what happens when a government is monitoring, and by the way, that's how a government achieves that criminal end. It does it through the people. Okay. So anyway, like I said, this is going to be that documentation of that video that is dated August 18th, 2020 at 4:38 in the morning as I am at Economy Inn. Again, as I had documented in my playlist, going from Mayfair Inn on August 13th, 2020. I leave that venue and I document day by day as I am, again, literally sleeping out on the streets, mostly at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. But everywhere I'm going and every day I'm showing how the same elements remain and how those same hallmarks, the state is stalking everywhere I'm going, as I left Mayfair Inn to the Walmart Supercenter, to sitting at the bus stop, and the state is flying over the bus stop as I'm sitting at Euclid and Holt. The state is flying over at the museum. The state's fake sun remaining where I am at in direct conflict with where it was remaining while I was at Mayfair Inn. I'm showing you how the system is in operation as I go from place to place to place, which is speaking to what is a ceaseless system in operation. The state is acting by every third party who is in relevant position as I remain at any location and as I am traveling in transit, whether I'm foot, on any bus, on any train. All right. It does not matter your means of transportation. The people are always surrounding you in relevant position, and the state is monitoring through all of them. And I'm showing how that system was continuously underway day by day by day. YouTube engages in targeting this particular playlist, which is no small act whatsoever. They shall be prosecuted for what is the threat to the life of an American citizen who's being monitored by a government, and publishing what is direct evidence of that, which is pursuant to the ability to prosecute that public entity. And they are injecting themselves. They are blocking by intentional conduct, because they're doing it even in violation and direct conflict to their own published guidelines for placing age restrictions, which nothing about my videos whatsoever, the purpose of my channel, in no way requiring any age restriction. And not only that, based on their own published guidelines, again, if they were actually considering the purpose of my channel, which is clearly expressed and stated, that too also removes them any valid grounds whatsoever to place age restrictions. You're also looking at the timing that they're engaging in blocking my videos. This is targeted conduct. This is a means of harassment. This is a means of criminal obstruction of justice, of threatening my life, and doing it through your conduct, all right? And you're doing it on behalf of a government that's flying over me day by day in planes and helicopters, threatening my life, acting with these psychopaths who surround me at this venue, by the way. I am at Economy Inn right now, and they are remaining engaged in this P.O.C. And as I place this playlist, which has to do with the venue where I am currently located, subject to federal group stalking and monitoring to date, and YouTube engaged in the P.O.C. of blocking that video. It is not a small thing. It's not just about, oh, so what, you go to that website. No, it's not about that. This is about placing any hardships, any act of obstruction of the targeted individual. You do not know their particular circumstances. You know, though, for one thing, that they're being targeted or they're being monitored, or such that they are trying to establish it by publishing documentation, and you in any way obstructing the ability to do so is a criminal act, and an egregious one, okay? And for which you don't, there are no grounds. All you have to do is document the fact that you were in any way obstructed by the ability to publish, which you don't have any right to interfere in. And this is, again, this is going to be the purpose of federal law, understanding and identifying. This is how you identify a third party, okay? Not by their identity, but by their conduct. In any way helping the government that's monitoring and actively trying to conceal the fact that they're monitoring. All right, the cat is already out the bag. You're talking about informing at this point what is federal law. And YouTube fully engaged in P.O.C. YouTube already before this are fully engaged in P.O.C., okay? I mean, when you placed a block on my video about what is paperwork, and understand, as far as YouTube is concerned, it's just paperwork. But this is very crucial paperwork, okay? I provided what is direct proof, direct evidence of a fictitious prosecution, and I was kidnapped for a series of months inside by the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, and then you're going to place an age restriction, which is, in other words, placing a block limiting the ability for that video to be viewed by the public. And understand, just because YouTube is calling it an age restriction, that does not mean that YouTube is actually placing only an age restriction. Where you're engaged in that pattern of conduct, understand, I've already shown third parties are liars. They're engaging in any sort of conduct. So you don't have any grounds whatsoever to engage in that legal process, because that's what it is, of publishing the criminal evidence, the criminal activity, which is evidence against the government that is currently monitoring you. Your life is currently under threat by that government that's monitoring you, and you engaging in any conduct that is helping that to continue to exist is engaging in the P.O.C. and you are identified by that conduct. And you can claim ignorance, you can claim accident. It does not matter. The threat to the life of that target individual is the superseding interest, and any facilitating conduct is that which is subject to federal prosecution, okay? But like I've already shown the context, there is no coincidence. This is a state system that is fully underway, and there is no accident. This is the ability to literally remove any legally irrelevant claims of engaging in criminally facilitating conduct and claiming that it's totally unrelated, or that you don't know, or that you have no idea. It really doesn't matter. It does not matter, and federal law is going to treat it that way. You can say what you want. You're going to be prosecuted, period. All right? And that is absolutely necessary. And so this is the documentation that is created on August 18th, like I stated, of the third-party group stalker engaging in P.O.C. as I captured at 4:38 in the morning. And this is also documentation of what is YouTube engaging in the P.O.C., blocking this particular video that has long existed on YouTube. The day after, well, no, not the day after, I'm sorry, hours after I add this playlist to my website, YouTube engages in placing the age restriction, which is a block, a means of limiting the reach of my videos. And understand that YouTube does this as I am in the process of publishing documentation onto my own website from YouTube. I mean, it's not a coincidence what they're engaged in. It's absolutely despicable. And this is revealing, understand, the more that you document the pattern of conduct, You are understanding, you are seeing, you are piercing through what is the true identity of these companies, of the people of the state of California. As I'm publishing documentation of third parties and you hear what they really are, okay? When I catch them on video and they're acting like, what do you have the video on me? What are you recording me for? What are you doing? I'm trying to walk my daughter to get your cat. They're the same ones who before, when they didn't have any fear, when they thought that they were going to lock me up in a mental ward, that they were showing who they really are, engaging in blatant harassment, okay? Threatening me, beating up my vehicle, okay? Just straight up stealing my property with the police, engaging in that conduct and having no fear whatsoever of being documented. And why? Because at that time, there was this false notion that they're going to get away with, because this is what the government has been engaged in, and there was this false notion that I have no way of proving it. What am I going to do? And this is the purpose of group stalking. Understand it. It's literally like a bullying system in operation by a government, like I've already stated. And you are outnumbered, and so based on that presumption, you're supposedly outpowered. All right, but like I said, that's a superficial guise. None of this. When you get down to the science of the matter, when you break it down to what are legal elements of criminal conduct, which is operated by the government, you can place that weapon on every single person in your path, because you're understanding what the government is engaged in, and every word that comes out of their mouth, you can prosecute them for that too, because they're speaking as the government. They're acting as the government. And not only that, all of that conduct that they were engaged in before, all of that boldness and cussing me out and beat all of this stuff that you're listening to that I documented, this is the same group. This is the people of the state of California, okay? That's the true identity. This is how you know them, all right? When they think they're getting away with something. It's not what they're showing on video, holding some little kid's hand, talking about they're concerned about. No, you're not. You're monitoring, all right? And trying to appear as though you're doing something other than that. There is no outward form. And their true identity is that which I shown years ago when I first started documenting. And they legitimately, based on their conduct, conducting themselves as they are impervious to being prosecuted, impervious to being documented, and to being identified as the criminals that they are. All right. This is why you have people like Lisa Rogan in the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court just sending an American citizen to jail, having no right whatsoever, engaging in criminal defamation, engaging in kidnapping with intent to obstruct justice. All right. Engaging in a fictitious prosecution. All right. And doing so with the people of the state of California, literally a judge engaged in that criminal system. They're filling the gallery of that courtroom. All of them are monitoring together. The deputies monitoring together. And you have a judge that is engaged in that. It does not matter what their specific identity is. And this is the point that I'm telling you. And this is that attitude that I documented. So you understand, at federal prosecution, it does not matter what you are claiming. The government is acting. And the government is acting vicariously through the people. And I have even shown you how the people are. You are not listening to merely one individual. You are listening to the reality of what is the true identity, the true actor, the people of the state of California that are monitoring American citizens and have been accustomed to getting away with it. But that is no more. Okay, that's the truth. All right, YouTube is engaged in that P.O.C. And understand doing so in the means that they have at their disposal. That is not innocent. It's not innocuous. It is not a small thing whatsoever, placing any sort of restriction on that documentation, which is evidence against the state. That is very serious what they're engaged in. It is a very real threat, and it is acting on behalf of that government that, as you hear every single day, as you're seeing in these videos, that obsessive stalker in helicopters, wearing police uniforms, in ambulance and fire trucks, these are psychopaths, okay, threatening and monitoring, stalking, all right? And YouTube is engaged in that. YouTube is helping that occur. All right. YouTube is helping to hide and conceal that. That's not a small thing. That's a very serious thing. And you're going to be prosecuted for that. Period. And I just want to be clear. The reasonable deduction from that is you are looking at the true identity. My goal is twofold. You are able to make a valid judgment when you are looking at what is the full big picture of the conduct. all right, and the intent behind that conduct, which is also deducible based on that pattern, all right? And you're not looking at that which is individualized. You're looking at the group conduct, and that group conduct is identical, where the state is continuously engaged in that pattern of conduct, and the state is continuously getting assistance from the third parties. It's acting together, and this is literally revealing the whole operation of that system. Any sort of scenario that you can fathom where the government is monitoring, that's what's prefacing everything that you are approached with. Anything that a third party is doing, if the government is monitoring you, it's taking on a whole other fact pattern, all right? It's occurring under the pretext of a government monitoring, a pattern of conduct by a government that is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. So nothing is occurring coincidentally, nothing is occurring idly or by accident. It is serving that P.O.C., all right? And that's not only based on analysis of the elements, you're talking about in any way facilitating the ability to conceal that. And whether you claim that that facilitating conduct was accidental or coincidental or, upon ignorance, it does not matter for purposes of that federal prosecution. All right, that is P.O.C, and this is going to be the video that YouTube sought to block off my website by placing the age restriction on the first video of that playlist, which is for Economy N.